Hi everyone, it's Tuesday today, and in just 5 days' time, the big one will arrive. Celtic will have the chance to effectively win the league title against Rangers at Celtic Park. Is anyone else struggling to not think about this game? I mean, we're 5 days out, as I say, and I've already got the buzz on for it. I'm already thinking of scenes we might see at full time if the result goes our way and all of this kind of stuff. It feels like a proper huge game, and not just like a huge game like you'd get every month or so. It feels like a match that potentially we could remember forever, supporting Celtic. Not to build it up too much, I don't really need to do that. I'll park all this chat for now because we have plenty more time on the channel between now and kick-off to get into all the feelings that will surround this match. Today we've got a roundup for you. It's actually a little bit more of a busier roundup than we've maybe had in recent weeks. There's a fair bit has gone on today that people have been chatting about, so we can get into all of that kind of stuff and I can have a bit of a chat. Let's get going. The PFA Scotland Premiership Team of the Year was announced earlier today. As always, they do it well in advance of the actual end of the season, but I don't think there'd be too many arguments from the team that they've named. As you would expect, there was a very healthy Celtic contingent. 6 out of the 11 players play for Celtic. They are Cameron Carter-Vickers, Josip Juranovic seemingly at left back, Callum McGregor, Tom Rogic, Jota and Kyogo were all in there. Craig Gordon, former Celtic goalkeeper now at Hearts, was in there too, alongside fellow Hearts defender John Souttar. James Tavernier and Alfredo Morelos were in from Rangers, and Regan Charles-Cook from Ross County. And while 6 players is a very healthy contingent, I think it sums up where all the stars have been this season. You could probably argue for even more Celtic players in that team. I think off the top of my head, Carl Starfelt's probably a little bit unfortunate not to be in there. I don't think it's a travesty that he's not in there, but I think if he had played the full season like he has probably for like the last 6 months, 7 months, he would probably have been in there as well. Joe Hart could arguably have been in there as well, although Craig Gordon has had a pretty spectacular season. But even someone like Georgios Giacomakis, I know he's only played half a season, but again, he's someone who's almost a top scorer in the league and has scored so many big goals for Celtic. So I just think we've got so many players who could have been in there, but I think 6 is probably a pretty fair number. I don't think we've really had as many as 6 since the Invincible season, which felt like a real season of dominance for Celtic. Well, of course it was. We didn't lose a domestic match all season, and even that year we had 6. So the fact we've got the same number this year probably says a lot about how many good players Ange has signed, and just in general how many stars Celtic have had this season. And we're going to have a lot of fun, I think, working out who is going to be the 67 Hail Hail Player of the Year at some stage. Of course, these PFA awards are just a prelude to the 67 Hail Hail Season Awards, which will be coming to you shortly after the end of Celtic's season. The PFA are still to announce their 4-man shortlist for Player of the Year. I would certainly expect at least 2 Celtic players to be in that 4-person shortlist. Probably Kyogo and Callum McGregor, possibly Jota too. I think Regan Charles-Cook will probably be in there, maybe a Rangers player in there as well. But we'll wait and see how that goes. But in general, good news and plenty of things to be spoken about. The referee for Sunday has also been announced, and this has got people talking as well. It will be John Beaton in charge of the game. He'll be assisted by Frank Connor and Graham Stewart, with Don Robertson on 4th official duty. A very interesting choice, it's fair to say. I watched Beaton's last outing Friday night, Arbroath against Kilmarnock, or the other way around, at Rugby Park, and I don't think Beaton had a good game at all. So it seems strange to me that after having a pretty poor game in what was, a high pressure match, he would then get an even bigger match this weekend for the derby at Celtic Park. You kind of wonder sometimes with the SFA appointments whether they actually do factor in recent performances and reward referees who have done well and perhaps punish referees who haven't done as well. But we'll wait and see how he gets on. Of course, he does have previous in this fixture as well. and more notably after these fixtures in the evening. So we'll keep an eye on both Beaton's performance and his post-match drinking plans as well. Celtic have 3 more home games this season. We know the first of them is on Sunday against Rangers. If things go well in that match, we will basically clinch the league title, although not mathematically or arithmetically. I'm never quite sure which one it is. The following weekend will be that point, though, when we host Hearts. That's when the league could officially be clinched. And then the final home game we have of the season will hopefully be Trophy Day if things go well over the next couple of weeks. So 3 big games, and the Celtic support are clearly well aware of this, because yesterday tickets for the final 2 matches against Hearts and Motherwell went on general sale, and they were snapped up, and I'm legally obliged to say snapped up for this one, within about half an hour, I think, maybe even less time than that. The Celtic support are clearly aware of how big these matches are and the potential they have to be matches that we remember for a long, long time. We're going to move on now and chat about transfers, because over the past couple of days we've had our first linkage with some potential new signings. One player who we already know about is Cameron Carter-Vickers. Last week we got a pretty positive report with regards to the prospect of Celtic making his signing permanent. American outlet SBI Soccer, which includes Larry Henry Jr., who we had on the channel way back last summer, they say that Celtic are in, quote, advanced talks to sign Carter-Vickers permanently, according to a source close to the player. Now, I'm led to believe they have pretty good sources, SBI Soccer, with regards to American players. So it seems like this could be one that's a goer. Spurs' valuation remains at £6 million. There are several English Premier League clubs sniffing around CCV as well. If you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago between Carter-Vickers and Jota, who would Celtic be most likely to sign, I always felt it was going to be Jota. I think now it seems like Carter-Vickers is the one that's kind of more nailed on. There's kind of ongoing worries about Jota signing permanently. But I think with regards to Carter-Vickers, he would be a huge signing to get in permanently. And it seems, based on these reports, like there may be something happening here. But in terms of a new name that you've almost certainly never heard of, and I'm going to absolutely butcher his name right now, Hammarby left-back Mahanad Yiatsa, an Iraq internationalist, has been linked with Celtic today. He's rated at around £2 million. He's a left back, and a few outlets are reporting that we're tracking him, with Ange keen to bring in a new defender as soon as the summer window opens. Celtic do, of course, have Adam Montgomery. We've also got Liam Scales there as well, who we've not seen much of lately, and of course Greg Taylor. But it feels to fans like we could do with one more player who could really bring things forward in the left-back area, almost like a Josip Juranovic on the other side. And looking at the kind of similarities between Juranovic and Yiatsa, they're clear to see. So it seems like we might be on to something here. He was born in Sweden but has Iraqi family. He's played for the likes of Broma Pojkarna, Mjällby, not Johan, that is, and now Hammarby, who are currently top of the Swedish top flight, the Allsvenskan, after finishing 5th last season. He's a really attacking left-back, an incredibly attacking left-back who likes to get stuck in as well. And at £2 million, it seems to fit the bill for the kind of deals Celtic have done under Ange so far, despite some people claiming that we have bought the league. But you can check yesterday's video out for my retort to that. But I like the look of Yiatsa without even properly having seen him played. I'm intrigued by the fact that he's a really committed player who really likes to attack, and he's had loads and loads of assists both this season and last season for Hammarby. So he seems like he could be a goer. There'll be so many names thrown out with regards to Celtic over the next few months. I would expect it probably to pick up a little bit if and when we do clinch the league title. We will keep you abreast of everything that's happening with regards to transfers. We'll ramp that up again, hopefully when Celtic win the league. In general, though, I just really trust Ange to get it right this summer. There's probably been years gone by supporting Celtic where the fans have all realised there was a position that we needed to strengthen, and then it just wasn't strengthened for whatever reason. I think now under Ange we have a manager who knows what he wants in his team with his system, and it seems like the club are just kind of letting him get on with it, and we've seen really good results with regards to that so far this season. The vast majority of signings we've made this season have been really, really good signings, and that's why I'm so confident that Ange will get it right next year, and he'll have the Celtic squad as strong as it can be going into all the challenges that we'll face next campaign. Now, moving on, and I just mentioned looking forward. Well, I suppose looking back for a wee second, I was doing a bit of cleaning earlier on, and I came across these wonderful mugs which kind of tell the story of Celtic's season, all the way from Eddie Howe to Ange via the Conference League. And I thought, I'm not really finding much use for an Eddie Howe mug, surprisingly. So I thought we could maybe dish them out to you lot if you fancy. We could maybe do a wee competition. If we get to 29,000 subscribers, hopefully later this week, we could maybe just fire out the mugs to one of you wonderful subscribers. I don't think we'll bother with the Conference League, but we can go with the other two mugs. No, not those two mugs. I'm talking about these crackers. The Ange one is extremely popular. I've had so many people DMing me since I put the tweet up earlier. And obviously the Eddie Howe one, we can bin it if you want. I don't really care. But we'll maybe do that. So once we get to 29,000 subs, hopefully over the next few days, I'll do a wee draw. All you have to do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and hopefully we can get to 29k as soon as possible. But for now, I'll start preparing to say my goodbyes to these wonderful mugs that have served us so well over the last 10 months or so, and we'll return tomorrow when we'll be 4 days away from the big game.